grant of orders beyond 10 days. The Speaker's lawyer urges that because of Order 25 Rule 1.8 of the High Court Civil Procedure Rules 2004, CI 47, that enjoins high courts to grant injunctions and other preservation orders for 10 days in the first instance if heard ex parte, and without notice to one party summoned before the court. The Supreme Court was also enjoined to grant the ex parte order for 10 days as a matter of rules and practice. This is a submission that fails to appreciate the import of Article 2.2 and 2.3 and 2.4, which guide the Supreme Court when dealing with a constitutional matter such as this. We will quote again Articles 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. The Supreme Court shall, for the purposes of a declaration under clause 1 of this article, make such orders and give such directions as it may consider appropriate for giving effect or enabling effect to be given to declarations so made. Any person or group of persons to whom an order or direction is addressed under clause 2 of this article by the Supreme Court shall duly obey and carry out the terms of the order or direction. The Constitution enjoins the Supreme Court to make orders that are appropriate for giving effect or enabling effect to be given to its final declarations on the correct meaning of a constitutional provision. And the Constitution is so serious about ensuring the obedience of such orders that it creates the offense of high crime for failure to obey such orders in Article 2.4. Not even the President and Vice President are exempt from obeying the orders of the Supreme Court when they are made to give effect to its duty to prevent a violation of the Constitution. Because of the irreparable harm to the constituencies made up of hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians who would have lost their MPs without the option of a by-election, and the irreparable harm to the MPs who would have lost their seats in Parliament in these last few weeks to the 7th December elections, if the meaning put on Article 97(1)(g) by the Speaker was enforced without a clear determination of the disputes around it, this court found it expedient to compel the parties to allow an early hearing rather than make an order that would last only 10 days.
Yes, we will continue to compel the Speaker to follow due process. We record Parliament. He has come to illegally adjourn Parliament Synod without engaging us, knowing that there was chaos. There was chaos in the chamber. And he knew that the right thing to do was to engage us and to get the NDC to sit on his left. He refused to do that. So we would compel Parliament to sit and for the right government business to be transacted. We are going to do it. We will not allow the Speaker to have his way. He is not a member of Parliament. The Speaker is not a member of Parliament. He presides over Parliament. We, the members of Parliament, determine the business of Parliament. So we'll recall Parliament again. I'm saying that we'll recall Parliament. We'll recall Parliament. We'll recall Parliament.
This Parliament expires on the 6th of January 2025. So we have time. Let's see what happens.
The Council of State reached out to me again that they have spoken to Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker concedes that he has not made a ruling and that the NDC will move to their own seat. He gave them the assurance. Council of State communicated that to us. We said, okay, if in all of these Mr. Speaker decides to resign, what should I do? I should go and sit on the minority seat? Spiritually, it's not even good. You have 3 weeks to election. I should go and sit on minority. Is that my seat? I won't dare sit there. I will never do it. I will never do it. That's not my rightful place. I should go to minority. Spiritually, make myself a minority person. No. And bind my colleagues. We won't do that. No MPP person will do that. In any event, we were privy to certain things that we cannot make public. That if our colleagues had entered the chamber to attempt to enforce their right, perhaps we wouldn't be here. So in fact, we are decent-minded people. Yes. We respect the courts. We respect the law. our doors are open to Mr. Speaker's call. I repeat, our doors are open to Mr. Speaker's call. Political decisions are for common sense approach. We believe in a common sense approach in solving this. And the common sense approach is for Mr. Speaker to direct the NDC side to go back to their seats.
Grant of orders beyond 10 days. The Speaker's lawyer urges that because of Order 25 Rule 18 of the High Court Civil Procedure Rules 2004 CI 47 that enjoins high courts to grant injunctions and other preservation orders for 10 days in the first instance if heard ex parte and without notice to one party summoned before the court. The Supreme Court was also enjoined to grant the ex parte order for 10 days as a matter of rules and practice. This is a submission that fails to appreciate the import of Article 2.2 and 2.3 and 2.4, which guide the Supreme Court when dealing with a constitutional matter such as this. We will quote again Articles 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. The Supreme Court shall, for the purposes of a declaration under clause 1 of this article, make such orders and give such directions as it may consider appropriate for giving effect or enabling effect to be given.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. Inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All righty, welcome to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana. Well, it's an exciting morning, and it's the 18th of November 2020. 2024. We thank God for giving us yet another day. Let's go through the newspapers. We start off with the Daily Graphic, and it says, majority to vote on policies. Voters prioritize manifestos in graphic poll. So you see that there's a section of the poll, one of the graphics being captured on the front page. On whether your policies matter, no is 33.4%. Representing 1,665 people, and those who are looking at the policies are 66.6%, representing 3,317. Are you influenced by manifestos, or as you decide on who to vote for? So I'm sure those who are saying no are those who are just looking at the party colors. Police inaugurate 3 new stations in Eastern Region, sign peace pact, U.S. ambassador to political parties, explore debt for nature swaps to address Galamsey experts. Ghanaian Times, government to support National College of Defense Studies, president. Farmer jailed 18 months for stealing akpeteshi, distilling pipe. Election 2024, EC reprints ballots for Ahafo. Volta regions over serialization errors, affected ballot shredded, burnt. Daily Guide. Vote for Baumia Kufuor. Vote for Baumia Kufuor. VIP mobbed at Kumeu. DACF exposes a Black West drip lies. 2 Chinese Ghanaian Galamsey's trial ends. And then we also have December 7 election will be peaceful. IGP assures. The New Crusading Guide. Dust over machines. NDC government bought only 60 drip machines for 27.7 million euros. Jospon Group upscales climate resilience efforts, invest in waste management infrastructure, others. EC burns ballot papers with errors for Ahafo, Volta regions. 2024 polls, and I hope that the new ones that are going to be printed will not have mistakes. 2024 polls, police has no side, will remain professional, dampare. Power play or property rights, Lord Comey at center of Chado land disputes. Okay. Ye massively impacts the Western region in employment. Razak Kojopoku cracks Mahama with 24 questions on his 24-hour economy. Insight. The Inside newspaper says election 2024, Care Ghana calls on IGP to release code of conduct for National Election Security Task Force to avoid 2020 and Ayawaso Wogon crisis. The blockade on Cuba by USA is a failed policy, but still has bipartisan support, says Dr. Jose R. Cabanas. Opposition leader projected to win presidential election in Ghana. How the foreign media reported recent poll outcome. Tightened security in Asante Achem North constituency. Concerned youth group cries out to IGP over alleged plots to rig parliamentary poll. Ultra-conservative war hawks dominate Donald Trump cabinet. The Informer, IGP warns against violence, admonishes citizens to shun selfish politicians. In this issue, NPP activist poses 24 questions to Mahama on 24-hour economy. Election 2024, Baumia won't be divisive leader. Kufuor. Mahama boy insults Kufuor PWDS for expressing view regarding Baumia. Supreme Court's ruling vacant seats. Stay away from Parliament, Sidin Ketia tells NDC MPs. Jospon speaks up at COP29, urges capacity development towards carbon financing. The Inquisitor, not stopping at anything. Galamseyers invade Nuong Forest. Legitimate owners of concession overwhelmed. Napo's convoy not involved in accident. Mahama to restore people's trust in government. Opong Fosu. Atachia, Supreme Court not an extension of Jubilee House. Kojo Opong asks JM 24 questions on 24-hour economy. Ye makes giant strides in employment creation at Western region. Kofi Ejapon, good morning to you. The Herald newspaper, Minerals Commission and others caught up in dirty bribery controversy over Newmont's Achim and Bogoso Prestia mines. Ashanti Region Minister rubbishes $507 million Kejetia Market project, despite 8 years of Akufo-Addo and Otum Force involvement. Highlights of NDC and NPP manifesto on health. Jospon Group outlines green transition initiatives at COP29 Azerbaijan, builds electric waste trucks and goes into smart agriculture. Year's job creation initiative transform lives in Western region. The Daily Statesman, Kufuor rally support for Bawumia. Chief, no need for bloodshed because of power. Ye empowers 2,800 plus youth in Western region. New dawn in education. Akufo-Addo said to commission over 80 projects. IGP will be impartial during elections. Ghana Gas saves $250 million. NDC challenged with 24 questions on 24-hour economy. The Daily Searchlight. Kufuor, people in wheelchairs are evil. Curse. John Mahama aid draws acts of MPP. Academic City receives grants to boost biomedical research in Ghana. Leaked document rocks national security. And the top right corner says Education Ministry is abusing rights of students from private schools, GNACOPs. Business and Financial Times, our locked up funds have been held too long. RCBs proposed reduction in corporate tax to 18%. VCTF eyes $120 million by 2030 to sustain venture capital market. And in insurance, WAICA Reinsurance establishes Afing Bank to bridge Africa and global finance. MIF targets $1.5 billion AUM. Telecom industry contributes over 9 billion Ghana cedis in taxes. In the other news, lessons from India's development journey, and then capacity building, key to unlocking carbon financing. And that's it for the headlines this morning. We'll take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Hey guys, so I got this app. It's called Ayoba. It's a chat app that helps me with beauty tips and cooking tips. A super app that feeds me music and the latest sports content. I even use it for my studies. And the good news is, I don't need to use my data bundle because I'm on MTN. Chale, the app just did be.
Ayoba, the all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, read, play, pay, and listen. Use Ayoba at no data cost on MTN. Download Ayoba now.
A vote for the MPP candidate in this 2024 election is a vote for a third term for Nana Akufo-Addo. Why they are desperate to break the 8 is to do a cover-up of the 8 years of atrocities that they have inflicted on Ghanaians.
Stand this way. Go this way. Come this way.
Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia, #1 on the ballot.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fat missy way.
Prepare your bantama.
Matias.
That's a cycle.
smile.
The fresh breath.
Me Gidi say we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some me kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
Best Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa. Ile kosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome. Please look into the camera for verification. Thank you, John. You are now verified. Please select your preferred candidate. New candidate. Profile being verified. Please choose another. New candidate. Profile not ready. Please choose another. To see development options for this candidate, press yes or cancel. Will cancel free SHS. Will cancel LEAP. Will cancel health insurance. Will bring back Doomsaw. Should I continue? Press yes or cancel. Please choose another. Development options. Will improve free SHS. Free healthcare. Flat rate scheme for importers. Jobs for the youth. Affordable public transport with electric buses. Generally, a great choice. The only choice really. Thank you for voting number 1.
Esuro. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
Customer, I don't know who to say.
Malaria been actually me on my number still.
One of give us.
Give us a solid.
Yeah, sorry. But Ross also give us here and don't come down.
But over that song. But for me to give us the and some down.
Give us a bad miss.
Me patron and some down.
Customer. Give us a tonto now.
Onuya kayo oba wa fa furo nom de o ma no banu fo nom akwada wa ni fie dumie no ono nso nom
apomode hunsem yen fen diagro enu nti na se wonom ede papa nko a Exodus moringa capsules ene Exodus dandelion capsules efi Exodus elusuyenum na ebeboa wa pomode emu bia wo benya no betimi aboa nanso se wonya to no a wo betimi anom abom na ebeboa papa se wonom Exodus moringa capsules ne Exodus dandelion capsules ebua mamoja di efusani yie na afei ebusi wo immune system no na akwati ayarewa ahodo minimi yie se nipa dodo na nim ya moringa etimi ye na dandelion so ye nim enu nti menkasa bedru enye mma apemfo ana abatan a oma enifo ana abofra a onya emfidumi Exodus efu dance die dos.
Future starts here. Herbal Havens, where your housing dream becomes a reality. Visit www.rehobothsocialhousing.com to learn more.
In the heart of our communities, change is not just a dream, it's a promise.
I don't have to worry about rising costs and taxes. Dr. Baumia's flat rate tax system is a breath of fresh air. It means I can keep more of what I earn and invest back into my business.
I've seen so many changes in my lifetime, but what matters most is to feel secured.
Dr. Baumia's initiative for the elderly is to make sure we are not forgotten. He's giving us the exact care that we deserve.
With digital skills training, I am no longer worried about the future. Dr. Baumia empowers us to thrive in a digital world, making us ready for tomorrow's jobs.
Job opportunities are crucial for my generation. Dr. Baumia is committing to creating job opportunities and entrepreneurship. With his vision, we can build our dreams.
Together, we can transform our nation. Dr. Baumia's plan arranges policies. They are pathway for prosperity for every Ghanaian.
It's time for leadership that listens and acts. A vision for all of us where every voice matters and every dream is possible. Vote Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
Eshuruho. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get an 8K. Get that packing soon. One line. Hey, wait. You can put it on this tab. This is my man. Good luck.
Hey, go ready. We have star 712. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe a straight to option 4.
Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets.
I'm choosing random ticket. That's it.
Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Ago! Settlement Yamohana! I am the same. Mitwana Mao Mabaha. Me a list of baby I make Ghana and my Yinano. Settlement Tia about so say. Mint Tia. At the same bar.
2025. Let's set up for 2025. Nobody one. You only Ghana 2025. The secret is open up. Let's say January 25, you will leave Ghana. Nobody will leave Ghana except you. That's it.
Munina Muoko Promoti, Hawaiian Media Mamui, Munusuno, and Idiemu, Mama Maobi and Tomo Shabre, Nawakasa of Mamusikana Mokoto. I feel so. Posumi Ayakoto Abano, Usha, a sign 12, 12. Now, Munkai said, I bought 12 o'clock. A reabo says some bought 12 o'clock. Biema, Adiachi. Said 12 months and never pay. I finish the sun. A tracing and coupon or the society back. 18 Oko ballot in this one. Over kind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Over who's I am branching or on a car and the water. The academy now I am
Using Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture, brought to you by Koa Research and Manufacturing Limited Company, proudly made in Ghana. Formulated to support your general well-being. For those seeking immune system support, there is Koa Plus Mixture. Support your body's defenses and stay strong. When it comes to combating malaria, Koa MT Mixture will aid your treatments. For effective relief from malaria symptoms, try Koa MT Mixture. Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children under 12 years. Always take a malaria test before using Koa MT Mixture. Choose Koa Mixture, Koa Plus Mixture, and Koa MT Mixture for your health needs. Available now at pharmacies nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact 0244 726611 or 0591 565 778. This advert is a
Dr. Baumia once said,
"But if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you."
Dr. Baumia, you know, when your fundamentals are weak, your exchange rate will expose you. That time now $1 to 4 cedis. And today, 11.5. The rate of depreciation. What are we going to say? $1 India, a Turkish near Medinica, ewo dosa or the bremi. Embla me money deposit. Not dollar no. 6 cedis to $1. In August 2022, over $100,000. I have the evidence. Between 1,550,000 Ghana cedis, meaning the dollar was 15 cedis, 50 pesos. Where were the strategies?
The dollar, which was selling at 4.2 Ghana cedis in 2016, is today selling at about 17 Ghana cedis. Prices keep rising, businesses are collapsing, yet the so-called economic messiah is dead silent and totally clueless about how to fix it. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Welcome back to the program. It's Good Morning Ghana, and it's been an awesome journey with Momo from MTN. 15 years of ease, safety, and convenience. So this is definitely worth celebrating. That's why Momo at 15 rewards you here with amazing cash prizes just to say thank you. So send MTN, send money to MTN Momo user or make payments to an MTN Momo merchant at no cost whatsoever. So go on, download the My Momo app on Play Store or App Store and enjoy this. Just Momo it everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply. And also, as you start the week, your children are going to be bothering you with how to brush their teeth. Just don't worry about it. Use Kel 360 toothpaste, and it's also approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. And as we're talking about things that are approved for children to take in, Kel 360 toothpaste is an all-round dental protection toothpaste that will give you freshness throughout the day, and it's also good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be proud by constantly using Kel 360 toothpaste. Also, it's a product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, available in all supermarkets, shops, and provision shops across the country. Call them on 024-686-4798. Kel 360 toothpaste, it says happy smile. Welcome the guest this morning, Beatrice Annan Esquire, and she is a member of the NDC communications team and the deputy spokesperson for the Mahama campaign team. Welcome. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Annie.
You're welcome.
I'm very sad this morning. It's a very mixed feeling this morning for me as a mother and a woman. I just chanced upon a news item that expired rice were repackaged by this government to be given to students in the secondary schools. And
you just chanced upon it
yes,
right now?
Yes. It was this morning.
Oh. Well, it was discussed on the show last week.
I didn't know.
Okay.
And I don't know why you, the traditional media, you're very quiet about it.
We're not quiet about it.
I cannot for my life think that as a mother.
Then maybe because you are campaigning.
No, but
you are not reading around.
It shouldn't be just a morning political show.
Okay, so it was posted by Okudzeto Ablakwa on his social media wall, and we captured it. A lot of headlines, website stories, website
Metro TV.
Metro TV captured, Joy captured, City captured, Adom captured. Most of them even spoke.
I can't even believe that this happened. And government justification is that they wrote for extension of the expiry date. And these...
No, that's not government justification.
But what's government justification?
Government has not justified it. In fact, I must be fair to government. It has not justified it. It says
so it has admitted.
It is going to, yes, it's admitted. It's going to look into the details that have been put out by Ablakwa and will investigate.
Oh.
But during the procedure of taking the rice, repackaging, the buffer stock company, I think, wrote to... Oh, this company, I always forget. The
FDA?
Not the FDA. I'll get it. And asked for an extension. They should look into, or they should examine the food before asking for the extension.
I think that
but before the date of extension came, the rice had already been distributed.
I don't even want to know about the details. I mean, this is so disgusting. This is so disgusting that you have children in school and the government will package expired rice for our children in secondary school, and there is and I mean nobody sees anything wrong with this, and we are indulging this government as if it's not enough that Dr. Bawumia's office stole rice. I'm so scandalized as a mother. You go through childbirth, you go through episiotomy, you give birth, you raise your children, and because of politics, they feed our kids with expired food. Hey, as if I should not even be angry enough about the Supreme Court decision. Then I come and meet an expired rice story. What is happening to us? Who did this to us? That there is nowhere we can even draw the lines. This is terrible. I can imagine leaving my children in school. I am so attached to my boys that I practically live for them. And because of politics that there are no food in school, people are not being fed, and people are raising concerns, and it's probably giving government a bad name. So let's package expired rice. Even if the rice were not expired, even the packaging itself, we are raising quality assurance issues. And you package expired products. You keep your children in GIS and all these Galaxy International schools, and you fly them abroad. And then you feed the ordinary Ghanaian children with expired rice. Because what? You don't want anybody to talk about free SHS? That we are all being blackmailed, that if you speak about it, it means that you are against free SHS? That at the expense of the lives of our children, we have to campaign. There has to be a speaking point. Where are we going as a nation? What is happening? And nobody has to speak about it because you are either NDC and that's why you're speaking about it. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Okay, so that's the rice you're seeing on our screen.
That human beings who sleep on pillows.
Okay, I'm not seeing it clearly.
These are
is this the
human
repackaged
beings.
one or?
Is the government made up of human beings?
So that's the rice.
You package this and you give it to our students to eat. Oh my goodness. May God deal with those who did this. May He visit them in their homes. So they will know how it feels like. This is, I don't know what is happening to us. You repackage a rice that looks like this and give it to students to eat.
So it comes in this original form, Oshosho rice.
Look at it. Look at this. And you'll be wondering why your children are having allergies. food poisoning, and you can't trace, and you know the irony. These things will be washed and cooked at the kitchen before it is brought to the dining hall. So innocent children happily walking with their cups, their plates and spoon, going to eat. And government will tell you, oh, we have supplied food. Oh, we just made the supplies. And, oh, God.
But this is, not to draw a conclusion, but if this is true, it's criminal.
You think if this is not true, you said the story came up last week.
From what I said, I can't draw conclusions on it. Government says it's going to investigate.
This is so, I don't know whether it's a stupidity. I don't know whether it is just people without conscience. May God visit them in their homes too. Said they also have children. May God visit them. Anytime I drive on the motorway, I pray that the right people should die. Because I don't even know who did this to us. And we will reduce everything to NDC, NPP. And meanwhile, these kids are from NPP and NDC homes. Everything is politics for us. Everything is politics. If you talk about this, you don't like free SHS. This is where we are. Who knows what else they are being fed with? This is because somebody leaked this to Okujato. Who knows what else they are being fed with?
Yeah. So he says at the process, during the process of the repackaging, someone who felt guilty about the whole procedure decided to send him a leak, and that's how he got the information, and then followed through. Yeah. So if nobody has sent it,
headmistresses,
and unfortunately, the children had already consumed
headmistresses, because of their monthly salaries, kept quiet, watch the kitchens cook these things and distribute.
No, but headmistress may not have known about this anyway.
But who would have known? The matrons or who?
Nobody.
When you open the rice, you will see.
The knowledge, no, but if it's repackaged, maybe it's cleaned up before repackaging. So if you open it, you won't see this poison. You're seeing the Moshosho bag. But when it was repackaged into the made in Ghana bag, I'm sure it wasn't looking like that. So you wouldn't know.
I don't.
You see, that's why even the matrons. That's why even matrons in schools who feed our children, we need matrons who can probably read and tell. For want of better expression, it's not just people who cannot read and just can cook, but you need people who are a little bit educated and can determine some of these.
I don't even want to know more about this because I can imagine how busy I am, leaving my kids in schools, believing that. Even when I can afford to give my kids better meals, somebody will not even give their dogs these food. And then I will not even probably feed my dog and cat these food. And then because of a policy, my children go to school and they have to be fed with this because government assumes that everybody in free SHS was not eating in their respective homes before they came. And so it matters not what food you should be given. Just eat this and go away because after all, you came from families that your parents could not even afford food. So you should be grateful to us. We are giving you free SHS. What is happening? What is happening?
Okay, that's a long good morning. But let me just quickly welcome Tabitha Pianyene Ayila, and she's also a member of the MPP communication team. Tabitha, you've met rather an unfortunate morning. Good morning to you. You're welcome.
No, it's not unfortunate morning. Good morning to you.
Morning.
I think it is rather an opportunity to educate Beatrice because. I know she's a lawyer, but at least some of us, we have knowledge when it comes to chemical things that we do at the laboratory. And when we say best before and expiry date, we have meanings attached to them. Just like how I cannot take the seat of being a lawyer and interpret some things or probably try to interpret some parts of the law because I don't have that jurisdiction. I don't have that power. I don't have that knowledge to do so. And so I think it is an opportunity to educate Beatrice. Because let me tell you something. No matter what you do, you can never, ever destroy the purpose for which we instituted Free Senior High School. Anybody who listened to Beatrice will just realize that she wanted to find a way to probably make Free Senior High School not look attractive to parents and make them alarmed for no reason. And I don't know why she takes delight in doing such things. No government will be interested in poisoning our children. Now, let me take you back to something. I read something from Kwesi Kwarteng. I remember when he was interviewed.
Last week.
Yes, last week. He made it very clear that the Ministry of Education is not in charge of when it comes to giving schools food. It is the buffer stock. But then they made it clear that, look, it is not going to be something that they will entertain or tolerate when they realize that the food that is given to the children are unwholesome. They wouldn't do that. And so he came out and made it clear on his walk that when we say an expiry date, or when you take a product and you look on the product and they write expiry date, what it means is different from best before date. And so they said an expiry date indicates the date after which a food product is no longer safe for consumption. So if you take a product, for instance, this water, and they've written, this one they didn't write expiry date, they rather wrote best before. When they say expiry date, it means that when the date elapses, that particular food is no longer wholesome for consumption. But when they write best before, let me give you the definition for best before, and so that we can proceed. A best before date, on the other hand, indicates the date until which a product is expected to maintain its optimal quality, such as its taste, texture, aroma, and nutritional value. While the product may lose some of these qualities after the best before date, it does not necessarily become unsafe to consume. Now, let me take my time and expatiate on this. What this means is that when you take a product and they write a best before date, what it means is when the best before date elapses, that particular food may lose some form of quality, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is unsafe to consume. That is why they had to subject it to a second testing before they rebagged it and did what? And distributed to the schools. And so no parent should be alarmed.
So you are factually incorrect. That is because, first of all, the reports that have come out from FDA indicated that during the process of checking whether or not the food was unwholesome, the Deputy Minister for Education, Honorable Reverend Intim Fojo, was involved. He knew about it. So that's where even Kweku Kwarteng was wrong. Because if you look at the findings, it says that the findings outlined below were arrived at during the preliminary investigation at the storage facility, as well as a meeting held with Deputy Education Minister, Honorable Intim Fojo, on phone. And they indicated on phone. And two representatives of the importer, Lamens Investments Africa Limited, in person, namely Eli Dogbe, Operations Manager, and Simon Eje, Ashanti Regional Coordinator. His number is there, I can't put it out. But these are details from the Food and Drugs Authority, the reports they actually provided after their investigation. And the investigation also indicated that if you read the reports, the food is unwholesome for consumption. I can't read the whole details.
Who released that report?
The FDA.
Because the one I have here has to do with FDA. I don't know the date, but this one was released on the 15th of January 2024. And they didn't say that it is unwholesome for consumption.
So this was...
That is not what they said here.
What did they say?
Over here, they said, based on the evaluated information provided above and that of the FDA's CLSR analytical report, which is attached, a temporary extension of the best before date of the rice can be granted only to 30th of April 2024. Now, they are making the argument.
That report? Can you send that to me?
Yeah, I can share it.
Yeah, if you can share with me.
Yes, I can share it with you. So clearly, what they are saying is that that's why I wanted to make the distinction between expiry date and a best before date. They are two different things that mean two different things. And so you can't lump the two and try to make meaning of it to be the same. So it is possible for you to have a product that after its best before date, you wouldn't have the quality like that you expect it to have. Probably you are expecting that the texture or the taste should be some way within a certain stipulated time. But it's possible that after that stipulated time, the food is still wholesome to be consumed, just that you wouldn't get it in its original form, or the nutritional value may even reduce. That doesn't necessarily mean that the food is unwholesome for consumption and that it is poisonous to those that will consume. This point should be made clear, and that is what I sought to put out there. And so there's no need for any alarm. If you have tried everything within your power to bastardize the courts and you don't succeed, you've tried everything within your power to make sure that the government, or should I say, Parliament doesn't work and it doesn't happen for you, and you think the best way to come out is to look at the free senior high school, because we've seen that a lot of people are embracing the free senior high school and people are actually singing praises of this government, then I think you have failed in advance. Because if you actually have a good campaign message, you shouldn't even be laboring yourself discussing some of these things that authorities are supposed to be in charge and to ensure that the right things are done. So you ranting this morning wouldn't really bring anything. So let's leave it to the people that are experts to handle it.
What's the clarity you're putting to the expiry date and best before dates? What's the expiry?
The clarity is that she indicated that it is no longer wholesome for consumption. And I said she's not right to say that it is unwholesome for consumption.
Pause there. That picture that was shown on the screen, just by the site, the rice itself. This is the FDA report. The details are all there. I mean, I can't go into it right now, but the packaging, the one that came with the black things lying in the rice, just by your sight, is it something that you're going to say, oh, this one, it falls within best before date or expiry? By what you saw?
They should show the video.
I'm sure it's getting there.
This is my first time seeing this video. I don't know.
Okay, so this was, played over and over again.
The first time it was bad.
This is it.
This is how it came.
So look at it.
This is the rice.
Is this something you will say, you will now give intellectual analysis on best before dates and expiry dates? Is this something for repackaging?
You know, please,
if this is fair to your children.
Let's not be unfair to our viewers. What I'm trying to say is that let us not be unfair to our viewers. Is this all that there is to the rice? Are you saying all of them are like this?
So if you have a consignment, a consignment of, let's say, 50 million bags, 50 million, and I'm being overly exaggerating, 50 million bags, and you have one of the bags looking like this, what's the probability that 10 of them are not like this, or 50 of them are not like this, or 100 of them are not like this? You will actually be tempted to open at least 1,000 of them to check if all
that
of
is
them
why they have to
rebag.
rebag. I think that is what informed them to rebag, because they have to open it up, check that it is actually good before they can rebag. Isn't that what they said? That they have to rebag the product.
They had to rebag the product. Under which supervision?
Under the supervision of FDA.
FDA did not approve for them to rebag. FDA had no power to approve.
I didn't say they approved them to rebag. What I'm saying is that the rebagging came after the food was subjected to FDA's probing. And now let me tell you something. From what I've just observed, this tells you clearly that probably this particular bag was exposed to moisture.
You're not listening to me. The rebagging did not happen after FDA's approval. FDA did not approve any rebagging.
I didn't say they
this was a contract.
Rebagging. I said they approved whether the best before date could be extended or not. From what I read. From what I read. You go back to the letter. Go back to the letter. You will see where they said that based on the evaluated information provided at birth. So it means that they subjected the food after the best before date, the best before date. Read. Maybe we'll just have to read it from the beginning.
Based on what? That the Ashanti Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority received an alert on 20th of December 2023 about a repackaging exercise which had not been authorized by FDA being carried out at the storage facility of the National Buffer Stock Company in the Ashanti region. Now, a team of officers were dispatched to the said location to ascertain the veracity of the alert for the officers for the appropriate regulatory action to be taken in the interest of the public health and safety. So upon arrival at the site, the FDA officers detected that the storage facility had been locked up. When inquired from the people around the facility, the team was informed that the action was taken by officers of the Central Command of the Ghana Police Service. The FDA team then continued to the police commander for further discussion. The team, together with the team of police officers led by the regional crime officer, moved to the facility to ascertain the veracity of the alert. This was an alert that was received, so they followed up. The findings outlined below were arrived at during the preliminary investigation at the storage facility, as well as a meeting held with the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable Intim Fojo, and two representatives from the importer, Lamens Investment Africa Limited, in person, Eli Dogbe, and then Operations Officer Simon Ejay, or Simon Ejay, however you may want to pronounce it, Ashanti Regional Coordinator. So Moshosho rice, 25%, broken white rice with registration number and the badges there, was imported by Lamens Investment Africa Limited, and the address is there, notified by the National Buffer Stock Company. Now, the rice was exported from India by Satya Balaji Rice Industries PVT Limited. The facility had been repackaging Moshosho rice from its original yellow 50 kilogram polyethylene bags into white 50 kilogram poly blah 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 bags with an inscription, Sidao ECOWAS Regional Food Security Reserve, and that's what we branded Made in Ghana. So, whilst the best before date on the Moshosho rice was December 2023, so the best before date you're referring to, December 2023, there was no date on the new bags being used for the repackaging. Additionally, the country of origin, that's India, on the new bags being used for the repackaging. Additionally, the country of origin had been changed to Ghana, thus concealing the identity of the rice. The repackaging exercise was carried out without FDA's approval nor supervision. The storage, and this is a report from the FDA, the storage facility had been licensed, had neither been licensed for storage nor repackaging. It continues to say the facility had no qualified trained person nor supervise its activities. According to the operations manager, 11,000 MT of the rice was received in February 2022. And this had been confirmed by two bills of lading attached. And the documents, we also have the bill of lading.
Was received when?
By December, according to the operations manager, 11,000 was received February 2022. February 2022.
Okay.
And then, and remember, the date of expiry was December 2023. So the consignment was originally kept in bonded warehouses in Tema due to issues of tariffs. The quantity of the storage facility in Kumasi is 23,000 times 50 kilogram bags, whilst that at the Lynbrook bonded warehouse is approximately 10,000 times 50 kilograms bags. Realizing how close the best before date was, Lamens Investment Africa took the samples of the rice to Food Research Institute, and that's what I was looking for, Beatrice. Food Research Institute, to analyze for possibility of extension samples of the rice for Food Research Institute to, possibility of the rights, okay, for the shelf life. I'm sure that's what you were trying to explain, the shelf life. So having received a letter of shelf life extension from the exporter.
Not the manufacturer.
No. The importer, according to the operations manager, wrote to the authority that's head requesting for approval for a repackaging and said consignments of the rice. However, no reply had been received prior to the repackaging. And for easy references, following documents have been attached to the report: bills of lading, invoices, the phytosanitary certificates, fumigation certificates of origin declaration, application letter for shelf life extension. Conclusion is that the preliminary investigation revealed that Lamens Investment Africa Limited, the importer of the Moshosho rice, undertook a repackaging exercise in an unlicensed storage facility without approval nor supervision by the Food and Drugs Authority. The country of origin and the brand name had been changed from India to Moshosho to Ghana and Sidao ECOWAS, respectively. The new packaging material had no best before date, contrary to the provision of the General Labeling Regulation LI 1541. Maybe I'll read the recommendations. It is strongly recommended that the operators of all such storage facilities across the country take immediate steps towards licensing their facilities as per provision of Section 130 of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851. Supervisors of all relevant, And on this, supervisors of all relevant staff operating at the food buffer stock facilities should undergo training in good storage and distribution practices. The rice may be disposed of at the end of the original shelf life. And you know what this
yes.
Tabitha,
so
I even had a problem. I'm sorry. I even had a problem. Tabitha, I'm with you. I even had a problem with the Food and Drugs Authority, because it's a Food and Drugs Authority. And that's why we struggle to make these institutions authority: Road Safety Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, Standards Authority, Ghana Standards Authority. We're making them authority because we give them the power to prosecute. If this is something that some institutions have done, why are you giving me these very soft recommendations? Obviously, the report is so comprehensive.
Because it's government.
It's so comprehensive that you even tell me that these bonded warehouses of the food buffer stock company have not been licensed, and yet are proceeding to distribute food to our students. That alone is criminal. I don't need any lawyer, judge, anybody to tell me by common sense that this is criminal. Because nobody can come from anywhere and give my children food in school. No.
So Annie, can I come?
Yes, sure.
You know, I was thinking that we will be taking into consideration the dates, because it's very important. I think from the country of origin, the best before date that was given to us was somewhere December 2023, right? And if you look at what happened, you could tell from the letter I shared with you from FDA. FDA indicated that upon the investigations that they have done, they decided to extend the best before date. And I gave you the date. Kindly let me refer back to my notes and just, yes. So based on the, I don't know whether to start from the beginning, where the Center for Laboratory Services and Research, that is CLSR, of the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has reviewed the following. What happened was that there was an application for shelf life extension of Moshosho white doubled polished Sortex index rice, 25% broken. And when that request was made to FDA to subject the food to thorough investigation, to see whether it is good for consumption or not, FDA did their own work, and what they did was that they took into consideration the analytical reports that were attached to the letter. And if you look, there are two letters that are attached, or one letter is attached to this, making it two. you see the chemical analysis that they did on the food to ascertain whether the food is wholesome for consumption or not.
And the
True or
conclusion
false?
is that
The conclusion is here. Let me read it to you. Based on the evaluated information provided at birth and that of the FDA's CLSR analytical report, which is attached, a temporary extension of the best before date of the rice, which is Moshosho, which we are talking about, can be granted only to 30th of April 2024.
And when was the food distributed?
I'm coming. We are taking into consideration the shelf life extension, and they said it was extended to 30th of April 2024. Now, if you follow the reports, when was the last time they distributed the food to the schools? Do you have that detail? I can share that detail with you.
Show me.
The last time the food was sent out was in February 2024. And none has been given to any school again, unless, of course, you have a contradictory statement that some people received the food after February. But this is what the report is saying from FDA and from Buffer Stock and also from GS. GS is saying that the last time they received food from the said company was in February 2024. So if FDA has come out and has indicated that the food will remain wholesome.
So if you check the reports that the Food and Drugs Authority released, that's the one on the screen.
Yes.
Just the one. If you can pause it so that we all read together. It says that, conclusion, sample does not conform to the GSA standards. GSA standards, the Ghana Standards Authority. 765-2016. GS 765-2016, cereals, pulses, and legumes. Specification for rice. So that's the specification for rice. If you can see on your screen, eyes are beginning to fail me. But that is what, okay, my producer has written for me. Their conclusion is that samples does not conform to GSA standards, cereals, pulses, and legumes. That's the conclusion of the FDA.
I'm coming. I don't know if I have.
You know, and the letter you're reading is actually a rejoinder from the FDA when they applied. When they applied for the change of expiry date or whatever they wanted them to do. Yes, that's what you're reading.
Listen, I don't know why you are deciding to ignore the conclusion that they drew. The conclusion is that based on the evaluated, information. I'm not reading from my own whatever. I'm reading from their reports. Unless, of course, you have a different interpretation to what they have concluded here. They are saying that based on the evaluated information provided at birth, and I told you that a best before date is different from an expiry date. That is not to say that the quality hasn't been compromised. It has been compromised, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is unwholesome for consumption. Let's make this clear. I am not interested in defending whatever the company did, whether they rebagged or whatever. My concern is the food wholesome enough for the children to consume? And per what the FDA is saying, it is still wholesome. And I told you that the last time a school received rice from this particular, company was in February. And GS is confirming that it was in February. That was the last time they received such food from the company. And quite apart from that, let us also make it clear that FDA gave a best before date. The second proposed best before date FDA released was supposed to be in 30th of April 2024. And so, if the food was distributed before this 30th of April 2024, how do you then say that the food is unwholesome if FDA has said that it continues to be wholesome? That is the point I'm making here. And another point I want to make very clear here is that even if you buy a bag of rice today and you do not store the rice very well, and the best before date is 2 years to come, and water, unfortunately, gets into contact with that food, it may develop molds or fungi, and before you realize, you can't even eat it, even though the best before date has elapsed or hasn't even elapsed. So that is why I'm saying that until you come out and have evidence that the food is no longer safe for consumption, you cannot conclude. You cannot conclude.
So what's your conclusion in the letter you wrote? What's your conclusion?
My conclusion is that
maybe you also, I'll send you that letter so you also have a fair idea.
So my conclusion,
your conclusion on this rejoinder from the FDA is what?
My conclusion is that per what the FDA is saying is, which we shouldn't disregard, is that the food remains to be wholesome for consumption. That is what the FDA is saying. And they gave a second proposed, expiry date, best before date, which is 30th of April. And I told you that schools, the last time schools received food from this company was in February 2024, unless, of course, you have a date that indicates that
the last time they received the food
was in February.
The one you projected on the screen.
Okay. Was in February. So if it is within the permissible date for it to be consumed, I will still go with what FDA is saying.
And who gave that permission for it to be consumed? First of all,
FDA.
First of all, take note that
FDA gave that permission.
Hold on. Right from the word go. We are even getting into the area we shouldn't even get to. It's not even necessary because right from the start, there's a rebagging procedure. And the rebagging procedure had no approval from any of these institutions, either from those who were giving the change of dates or expiry dates, or even from the FDA. It was under no supervision. Take note of that. It wasn't under the supervision of the Ghana Standards Authority.
No supervision mean that the food is unwholesome? That's the question. Because
how do you come to that conclusion?
So what's the point having your institutions to supervise such activities?
No, I'm not saying it is wrong for them to supervise. Don't get me wrong.
It's wrong.
Don't get me wrong. That is why I want you to be clear that don't get me wrong. My main concern is, was the food still wholesome? Per the reports coming from the FDA, was it still wholesome when they were doing the repackaging? That is where my concern is.
You tell me, was it wholesome?
Per what I read, or what I have read so far, I think that the expiry date has not elapsed.
So
it is still.
You think.
No, the dates are there to prove. I gave you the dates. I told you that the date, the first proposed best before date, was in December 2023. That is the best before date, the first best before date. But after the food had been subjected to testing by FDA, they extended it to 30th April 2024. And per the reports we are getting from Ghana Education Service, they are saying the last time this food was sent out to schools was in February 2024. And so, until you come and tell me that a school received this particular food after the proposed date coming from FDA, then I will say that yes, the food has actually, it hasn't met its expected date for which it should be distributed.
So a food received in schools, not having its country of origin specified on the bags, are okay to be given to kids because, according to you, they may be wholesome.
Let's not do this to ourselves.
No, you don't.
There are things
you don't do this to us.
Let's not do this because
No, this is.
And it's not every food.
She is speaking for government. Please allow her.
It's not every food that enters. Listen, it's not every food that enters into the school or into their kitchen that will come with the country of origin or no. For instance, perishable goods like this, you don't go looking for country of origin. I'm talking about perishable foods that come in.
But we're not talking about perishable foods here.
Yes, you are so
that
big.
Must have
manufacturing
details on them.
Annie, I think you are shifting the conversation. You are shifting from whether the food is wholesome to the origin of the food.
No, you want to stick to the fact that...
No, I want to stick to the fact that the food still wholesome when they were given to the schools?
Yes, so I'm sticking to it.
Yes, and I'm saying that if that is the argument we are making this morning...
No, hold on. I'm not arguing with you whether or not the food was wholesome. I've already read, I didn't even prepare to do this, but I've read the whole report
Same with me.
To you.
I wasn't prepared for this. I think that's why I was telling you that... They are just trying to bring tactics of the
So I've read the full findings of the FDA to you. right? You still stick to the fact that the food may have been wholesome, so we shouldn't make a big deal. I said, okay, fine. Let's shift from that.
The dates that have been given to us from FDA, the food was still wholesome when it was sent to the schools.
The Ghana Standards Authority have specified laws on what we have to do when it comes to what's it called, cereals, especially to schools.
Granted.
What's it supposed to be?
Granted.
We know the details. We know what we're expected to do. Was it done? No.
Granted. That is why I'm saying that my focus is on the wholesomeness of the food. If you are talking about the bread bargain and whatever, that one is a different angle to the whole conversation.
Okay.
But I think that she was trying to create this panic in parents that their kids are in school feeding on unwholesome food.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is that per what we have been previewed, or what is coming from FDA and what is coming from GES, is that the food was still wholesome when they were sent to the schools.
Okay, quick.
And that's the most important thing I think we should be talking about.
Let's take a break quickly.
Any chemist who says she's a chemist and would not appreciate certain basic things would be no chemist at all. Because you know why? Much as there is a difference between expiry dates and best before, they are not put there for aesthetics. They are not just put there because the manufacturer feels that I have to put this there because that's what I feel. People argue that water doesn't expire. I've heard a lot of chemists argue about that. And people say water expires. And so there is an argument about it. The point we should be making is that look at the pictures. And I want your producers to put the video of the rice on the screen. Without any chemical knowledge and being a chemist, you would know that there is something fundamentally wrong. So assuming that the best before, which had even lapsed, assuming it had not even lapsed, what it means is that even if you were to repackage under very strict conditions, knowing that you could mix this with good ones because of quantity. And remember, this is a company that is selling the food for profit. And then you say that the FDA has told you that this thing was not rebagged under our supervision, and that by our own test, it does not even meet the Ghana Standard Authority's qualification. But you sit in your home and you say that, oh, the nutritional value.
Actually came out with some chemical.
I'm talking about Tabitha sitting here. That, oh, the nutritional value may have reduced yet, but it is not unwholesome. People buy food to eat for reduced nutritional values. That's what we eat food for. That, oh, although the food may not meet your nutritional needs because the nutritional value has reduced, it is not poisonous, so you should eat. Where from this new thinking? Where from this low levels? That I thought governments may show, or government communicators may show some form of remorse. By this time, be pointing out that governments will be committed to investigation and punish those who are culpable. But we are being told that we should be grateful because we are eating food that the nutritional values have reduced. But some way, somehow, they are not poisonous. And you know, the funny thing is that, oh, you know what, the rice, I will not say rices, the rice was distributed to all the schools in February. So all the schools in Ghana finished consuming the food in February. When you distribute food, every day the children eat rice. So in the space of 1 month, they would have finished eating the rice, or they would have. What happened to those who did not consume within your best before debate? I think that if you cannot empathize with students, if you cannot empathize with parents whose children's life will be at risk this morning, your best is perhaps keep quiet. You don't come telling children or parents whose children are being faced with it and say, you know what, you should be grateful that you even have food. You should be grateful, or these points are being raised because NDC wants to bastardize free SHS. Okay. Is this the first time people are being fed under free SHS? Is this the first time people are eating? Why are we not complaining about bread and Milo? Why are we complaining about this rice? Because there is something wrong with this. Let's not reduce human lives to a policy. You had free SHS. more than 500,000 people still voted against you from those who voted against you in 2016. So you must admit that it is not the way forward. When something is wrong, merely because you have built a hospital and people are dying in the hospital because of medical negligence, you say, oh, shut up when people die because we have built hospital. You should be grateful we built hospital for you. Where from that logic?
Hold on. This one says that, Annie, this food matter, I wish that the media is allowed to take their cameras into the dormitories. I can tell you on authority that you will find bowls of banku, which is moldy, pepper, tomatoes, and the rest in chop boxes. The students even use pressing irons to cook or boil oil. This is even after parents have contributed money through PTAs to augment feeding expenses. It is annoying as a parent hearing FSHS being glorified the way the MPP is doing. You say, Mark from USA says that, good morning, Annie. Please find the above difference between the best before date and the best date, and the expiry or the export date. It says that the main difference between the best before date and the expiry date is the best before date indicates quality, while the expiry date indicates both quality and safety. So, okay, let me just jump. I'm running out of time. This one says that, from Dinko Evans, Gary says that, Annie, good morning. The worrying aspect of 22,000 maggots and weevils infected rice is not only the consumption, but our children is painful. The consumption by our children is painful. What is painful there was a celebrate act to shorten the lifespan of our children in the SHS per FDA reports, and it is its analysis that the victims will develop cancer and many illnesses. Dinko Evans. So my worry really is that we're sitting here with all the energy speaking English about this matter, but someone's life is in danger, and unfortunately it's the life of our children. So as we wait for I don't know, I really don't know how people think of this, but as we wait for the investigation outcome of the Education Ministry, somebody is probably struggling from this particular food.
Perhaps they are cooking some this morning.
You can't tell. So I don't know if I were the Education Ministry, immediately you get into the schools, put a ban on all forms of rice that are being cooked for the children, find some alternative food for them, no rice for now. I haven't seen anything like that. But the Education Ministry says that, oh, we're investigating it. As we wait for the children to finish consuming the rest of the rice, or some rice we don't even know where it's coming from. This is alarming. No matter how you look at it, it's alarming. It is. And I don't know, we need to put some immediate measures now, even before later. Chumbafo says that, good morning, Annie. I had breakfast with some students of GES Secondary School about 8 months ago in the dining hall. They served rice, water, and bread. Please ask Tabitha whether I ate the moshosho rice. Please, when did you eat that rice? Tabitha, have you people added moshosho to my name? So please answer me directly. Where is the nearest Agenda 111 hospital I can attend? Please, Agenda 111 hospitals are not ready for use. Let's cook some of the rice for Dr. Baumia and all the communicators to eat for lunch. I wish we could do that too, but you don't want to harm anybody beyond what I don't know, the problem. Good morning, Annie. So, Dr. Sampialis, Ambassador Sampialis says that, Annie, the application of the extension of best before date was itself conclusive of the fact that the product had expired or just about to expire. So, yes, the schools may have received the rice in February, but does the NPP know the date of the consumption by the schools? If the product was food or any consumables, this extension time is not permissible at all. So the so-called letter from the FDA is a political afterthought for a criminal cover-up. The NPP communicators have become so paranoid that they put their party interests before the health of their own children. You are looking... Sorry, thank you. So, good morning, Annie. The NPP... Okay, let me jump that line. They touted free SHS program, but little did we know that we will jeopardize the quality of our education. Despite the constant increase in commodity prices, our wards in school are being fed with expired food. As much as they announced the announced increase in cocoa prices, they should also announce rising cost of petrol, oil, and other essential commodities, you say. Carlos from Ododio. So, Annie, my appeal to parents and SHS pupils of 18 years and above is that they should vote this government out, providing them with an infected rice. They have no shame to be defending such wickedness. What a wasteful government, you say. Well, I don't think other people agree with you. Good morning, Annie. Any civilized society, the perpetrators of this avoidable act will be surely reprimanded and be made to face the full rigors of the law. How can you feed expired products to innocent children to consume? No amount of explanation can justify this ignominable act. David sentence. But I will plead with Education Ministry as soon as possible. I think that let's just put a hold to all cereals, especially rice, because that's what usually when it comes to cereals, that's what we feed the children with. So let's put a stop to it, put it on hold now as we focus on our investigation. Feed them with something more wholesome, and then as we clarify across board, and we're told that. According to Ablakwa, the schools are like distribution fronts. They distribute like bulks to some schools, and then they will forward them to other schools. So that's how, it's done. So if it's possible, you may want to just put a hold to rice foods for now, and then we will.
We eat rice.
This was since last year, and then
jollof.
Annie, can I come in?
If you come in, I'll come in.
No.
We have another
1 minute. I have to go.
Yeah,
for
1 minute. So quickly, I want to assure parents that the unnecessary alarm that has been raised here should be disregarded, because if FDA has extended the date to April 2024, and the last time the food was distributed to any school in Ghana was in February, then it means that they distributed the food within the stipulated time that it remains to be wholesome for consumption. I just want you to be reassured that GES or government will never, ever feed your kids with unwholesome food, and that you should treat everything that came from Beatrice and Ablakwa as something that is neither here nor there. It's until you come out with a conk letter saying that the food was actually unwholesome for consumption at the time the food was given to the school, then you do not have anything to say. But for us to follow what the FDA is saying. So parents, be reassured that the MPP government or this particular government will never, ever feed your kids with food that is unwholesome. That one I can assure you.
So, well, this is what Kwesi Kwarteng said. The Ministry of Education's attention has been drawn to the allegations made by Honorable Assembly Kujita Ablakwa regarding the supply of the expired food items to some schools. We would like to first express our appreciation to Honorable Ablakwa for bringing this matter to our attention. And as such feedback is valuable in our ongoing efforts to ensure quality education. We take these allegations seriously. So we take these allegations seriously as a matter of urgency and have commenced full investigation. The ministry has also engaged the National Buffer Stock Company and the Ghana Commodity Exchange, the entities responsible for the supply and distribution of the food to senior high schools. Together, we have launched a thorough investigation into the issue raised by Honorable Ablakwa. We assure students, parents, guardians, and public of our commitment to protecting the health and safety of every student under our care. Rest assured, we will pursue this matter to the end and provide updates to the public as our investigation progress. Kwesi Kwarteng, spokesperson, Ministry of Education, will be back after this break.
Yo, guys, can you believe Momo is 15 years in Ghana?
Really?
Yes, it's been 15 years of Fatumi Phone Somame.
Wow.
15 years of Shami Momo. 15 years of Loyazo.
15 years of I've paid the school fees.
Charlie, breaking news! Win awesome prizes in the Momo at 15 rewards promo! Guy!
Just download the new My Momo app, transfer and make payment, and you could be one of the 15 people to win 15,000 cedis each, and one of the 150 people to win 1,500 cedis each. Hurry, Ghana! Download the new My Momo app and start getting rewarded today.
Yo, you download them.
Download. I stop Vincent.
It is the Momo at 15 celebrations with MTN Momo. Pay faster, pay safer, pay easier, and just Momo it.
Another morning, another day filled with possibilities. My old car reflects my journey, and today could be the day I take a big step forward. Anything is possible, just think about it.
My shelves are ready to be filled, and soon the flat rate will open up exciting new opportunities. I can already envision a vibrant shop bustling with customers, all eager to discover what I have to offer.
I feel optimistic about import costs. Why? Because with DMB flat duty rates, my expenses will be more manageable. I can see my business thriving.
Every moment spent with my son brings back wonderful memories.
I tell you, my son, with my digital skills, now one can create games in a website.
Sure, boot number 1 on the ballot.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third-party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner. Dr. Baumia once said,
We are building a new harbor in Cape Coast and a new airport in Cape Coast.
In 2020, we will promise an airport and a harbor. Fast forward to today, absolutely nothing. Sure working. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
Look around. Home also need a makeover. Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Merchant furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just the breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashform store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashform, feel it, know it.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot.
Dr. Baumia once said,
They are hurting the economy. These taxes are hurting, and therefore you are not going to get the growth. And when you don't get the growth, you will not get the revenue. And when you don't get the revenue, you go back to increasing taxes to get the revenue, and then you are in a cyclical downward spiral. And so they have it wrong.
Plenty English know the full baskets. They told us they'd move us from taxation to production, but they rather imposed over 40 taxes on suffering Ghanaians. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. 8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get back packing so you have to one lie. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man. Good
Hey,
luck.
Google radio. We are star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
never. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Welcome. Please look into the camera for verification. Thank you, John. You are now verified. Please select your preferred candidate. New candidate. Profile being verified. Please choose another. New candidate. Profile not ready. Please choose another. To see development options for this candidate, press yes or cancel. Will cancel free SHS. Will cancel LEAP. Will cancel health insurance. Will bring back Doomsaw. Should I continue? Press yes or cancel. Please choose another. Development options. Will improve free SHS. Free healthcare. Flat rate scheme for importers. Jobs for the youth. Affordable public transport with electric buses. Generally, a great choice. The only choice really. Thank you for voting number 1.
Esoro. Vote #1 on the ballot.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. We've all been there, and you've placed the perfect multi-bet, and it's all going your way. So until it's not, and one or more picks let you down. So, well, with Betway, Bet Safer or Saver feature, you can win even if your bet misses. So even on multi-losses, you can get your bet back and more. So Bet Saver exclusive to Betway, gets way more. Terms and conditions apply. Gaming Commission regulates it, and it's Betway says gets way more. Please play responsibly. My guests are still with me, Tabitha and Beatrice Anna Esquire. Mark from USA actually said that, Annie, if you read what I sent, you find that what the consumer have to do before eating. And this is, before eating, you should check that it's safe by looking at it, smelling it, or tasting it. What you should throw away, or you should throw away food that has mold or looks different, smells or tastes bad, and has not been stored properly, is from a swollen or dented can, and is from a container with a broken vacuum seal. I'm one person that doesn't like canned stuff or canned products, especially canned drinks, because there are some videos I've seen. I can't see myself drinking, like taking any drink, like in a can. And sometimes if I really have to, then I have to pour it out of the can, because you don't know what's in the can. Open poison cry, you don't know. Anyway, so that's about it. But let's go into law a bit. So last week, we had the privilege of getting the full detail and reasons of the Supreme Court 5-2 ruling on the issue in Parliament. Now, private legal practitioner Tadio Sori actually says that has reacted to the reasoning of the Supreme Court in its handling of the vacant seat case initiated by the Futu MP Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and concludes that there is no order saying that the MPs must be allowed in Parliament, or order directing the Parliament recognized that the said MPs, as earlier ordered by the court, contained in the majority decision of the court. So the order staying execution of the Speaker's ruling is now spent. In effect, he argues that there is no order against the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babing, and his statement is about 4 pages. I can't read it all, but some of the reactions that came after the Supreme Court, okay, this is the Supreme Court, it says that MP seats can only be vacated if they switch political parties in Parliament. The Supreme Court has provided a detailed explanation for its decision to uphold the suit brought by the majority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin. According to the Apex Court, a member of Parliament is deemed to have vacated their seat if they change their political affiliation and continue to serve in Parliament under the new party identity. Okay, this one I think came before the ruling came out. So let me just leave it and come to the guests. Which is
I know you start with.
I'll start with you. Yes, I'll start with you. So we've received a lot of opinions on the ruling, and we've also heard that your party chairman, Sidin Ketia, is telling the members of Parliament, his NDC side of the members of Parliament, not to go to the House when they're recalled and stuff like that. What exactly is happening with what you have seen from the courts?
So I think that I would wish we had more time for me to demonstrate to our cherished viewers why this current decision is an operation of justice and long-standing legal principles, as we all know. It further gives credence to the fact that the courts have become very partisan or highly politicized. And I think that the Supreme Court judges missed a very golden opportunity to contribute to our rich jurisprudence. They missed everything and every opportunity they could ever have to contribute to consolidating our democratic gains. And of course, they are not just the ones missing the opportunity. Every democratic gain under this government has been eroded. And I agree with the Honorable Asidin Ketia when he says that our members of Parliament should not attend Parliament. At least per the constitutional provision, they have up to about 15 times to absent themselves. Between now and the election, Parliament cannot sit within 15 times. So they will not have been breaching any constitutional provision. But if you've monitored why we say that this decision should not come from a Supreme Court, we cannot even forgive the High Court if they make this error. So it is even more worrying, and it shows you some levels.
Error as in the ruling?
Yes. Okay. It's an error fundamental that if it was not because the Supreme Court gave it, any lawyer will go to court for a certiorari to quash, not challenge, to quash it, to quash the decision, because it does not have legs in law to stand with. And I'm very scandalized. I've been reading the 109 page. I read it on Friday, I read it on Saturday, I read it yesterday, thinking that something by some miraculous means will change. And I could see the struggle of Justice Asaridaku. You know, for me, I feel the pain to criticize Justice Asaridaku because I've appeared before him a number of times when he was in the commercial court. And he was very nice to me and he was very magnanimous in granting me some of my applications. I think my biggest, maybe my second biggest case, he granted me a certain application. But on this constitutional law matter, he got it absolutely wrong. You see, law is not customary arbitration where you just appear before chiefs and they listen to the side of the story and they say that, okay, Annie, you are right and Beatrice is wrong. Law is such that it is structured in the way that people have to be trained to be lawyers before they can represent. It is in modern times that we are trying to change, or when you represent yourself, then we relax the rules because we appreciate that you don't understand. And the fundamental principle is that everything goes to jurisdiction. So if a court does not have jurisdiction, the court cannot decide on the merits of the case, even if the outcome of the case or the outcome of the decision of the court is correct. And that is why when you have a case, I keep saying that, and you cannot write a letter and take the letter to the court because your case is a very sad one. And that is why you cannot just stand up and go to the High Court when the matter has to go to the district court, because we say that the court must assume jurisdiction first before they decide on the matter. Now, what are we saying? The issue of jurisdiction, like capacity, and it's so important that the law says that you ought to be able to raise the matter of jurisdiction anytime, even after judgment and on appeal, because when the court does not have jurisdiction, it matters not what the outcome of the decision is. And so it's not as if the NDC or many other legal minds who have said that this decision, including the Justice Atuguba, who have said that this decision is wrong in law, it's not because we just want to criticize the courts for criticizing the court. And so far, you have not even heard people arguing so much about the merits, because to the extent that they got the basis wrong, everything they build on it is wrong. Justice Denning says you cannot build something on nothing. That has been the legal principle. Now let me say that the Supreme Court has 3 different jurisdictions. They have what we call the original jurisdiction. They have what we call the appellate jurisdiction, and then they have the reference jurisdiction. So we are not saying that the Supreme Court does not have jurisdiction to interpret a constitutional provision. That's not what we are saying. We are saying that you have original jurisdiction, you have appellate jurisdiction, and you have reference jurisdiction. And all these jurisdictions have been conferred for a reason. They are not for aesthetics reasons. They are because law is structured in a certain way to bring some level of predictability. So when the Supreme Court takes a reference jurisdiction and assumes it as an original jurisdiction, it is very problematic. And especially when that intention is to aid the executive to do something.
Not necessarily.
But what is it?
It was not to aid anybody.
I will demonstrate to you why it was to aid the executive.
I mean, you can criticize on the.
I'm saying that it was to aid the executive, and I'll demonstrate to you. First of all, the court in itself admitted that the matters which is before it is matters which should have been at the High Court. However, they are saying that because it's a pure question of law, and I'll demonstrate to you why the Supreme Court was just seeking justification, and for that matter, a loose one at that. Annie, let me show to you. You know why, Annie, you cannot go to court to ask for a declaration that the Supreme Court should order the dollar to move from 4 cedis, to move from 17 cedis to 4 cedis, because on a true and proper interpretations of whether the directive principle of state of this country, of the 1992 Constitution, it is unconscionable that the dollar will be selling at 17 cedis instead of 4 cedis. Don't you think so? Don't you think you should be able to go to court and ask the court and to compel Dr. Baumia as head of the economic management team to make sure that he indeed arrests the dollar and brings it to 4 cedis? When you go to court, although you have in your writ that on a true and proper interpretation, or on a true and proper interpretation of the provisions of the directive principle of state policy, Ghanaians ought not to be buying the dollar at 17 cedis, and that an order should be made for the dollar to be purchased at 4 cedis. You know why you can't do that? Or even if you did that, the Supreme Court will look at it and say that this is not a matter for constitutional interpretation. So the courts have said in many Supreme Court decisions that when a matter is brought before you, the court must first examine whether it has jurisdiction or not, even if the parties themselves did not raise it. Now on page 14 of the judgment, this is what the majority opinion reads. The suit essentially hinges on a pure question of law, specifically the proper construction of Article 97(1) G and H to establish a legal threshold for triggering its provision without delving into factual disputes regarding seat vacation in Parliament, which properly lies within the purview of the High Court and Article 99 of the Constitution. You see, this the Supreme Court got purely wrong. This suit does not hinge on a pure question of law, because when you look at the release being sought by Afenyo Markins, he was not asking for just a declaration on the true and proper interpretation of Article 97(1) G and H. That's not what he was asking. He was asking that by reason of Article 97(1) G and H, a declaration should be made that Andrew Esiamwa Amwako, Cynthia Mamle, and Kojo Asante are not, or their seats have not become vacant. So this suit is not purely a question of law, as the Supreme Court wants us to believe. It's a question of fact, which the applicant or the plaintiff himself has pleaded or asked for a declaration. So first of all, they cannot run away and say that, oh, it is not the factual basis that Afenyo Markin is asking us. It's a pure question of law. So that should tell you that where the court was going, they did not have jurisdiction. Then the second thing, the court copiously took solace in cases like the Jachikwesun's case and the Zinato case and said that a similar instance happened in the Zinato case. And so we are justified in assuming jurisdiction. Nothing like that happened in the Zinato case. Why? Are we all not in this country? The cases are reported. The Zinato case started at the High Court. Yeah. The High Court judge, Justice Akabuafo, another very good judge that has been kind to me. Justice Akabuafo sought to say that a certain provision of a constitution was not ambiguous and went ahead to interpret same. And then Zenato's lawyer said that you do not have the jurisdiction to interpret the constitution. And by reason of Article 131, when a matter arises which has to do with a constitutional matter in a high court, you must refer it. And so they filed what we call a certiorari application at the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court quashed the decision of Akabuafo and now said that we have now assumed jurisdiction to interpret the said provision. After interpreting the said provision, they did not make any declaration whether or not the matter was qualified or not. They said that we are remitting the matter back to the High Court because when it comes to issues of eligibility, the Constitution says that it is the High Court that is the right forum. And so that point has to be made. But you know one thing that the Supreme Court did? Do you know that in the entire judgment of the Supreme Court, they did not declare that the seat of the NDC MP has become vacant? They didn't go there. The Supreme Court, they were just minded about the MPP seats. And so there is no declaration that Peter Yaokwachi Aka, his seat has become vacant or otherwise. We can only but imply. So where is the interest of the court? They are so interested in the MPP seats, but some way, somehow, they are not interested. Why? You know why? Afenyo Markin did not ask for that declaration. And so that is why I'm telling the Supreme Court that it cannot be a mere matter of law, because these facts were pleaded. I mean, some of them were not even pleaded. Now, the Supreme Court did something very funny. When you look at page 10, because the Supreme Court knows that, and this is where it gets very murkier, because the Supreme Court knows that page 10
of the ruling
of the judgment.
I'll forward the judgment to you, so just in case you want to.
Because the Supreme Court knows that they did not have jurisdiction, you know what they did? They said that in the second paragraph, the resolution of the jurisdictional question of facts in this instant case involves first determining whether the act or conduct complained of against the first defendant falls within the purview of our jurisdiction. And this is where you cannot convince any reasonable mind that the Supreme Court was not being political.
Page 10, which paragraph?
The second paragraph. The resolution of the jurisdictional question. They are saying that before they can determine the jurisdictional question, they have to look at the conduct of the speaker. I mean, before the case was put before the Supreme Court, the speaker had not done anything.
Yes, I remember.
In fact, even after the speaker's act or the breach which they complain of had occurred, the plaintiff did not go back to the court to say that this is what has happened. So we are wondering, how did the Supreme Court come to the knowledge of the fact that this has happened? Because you know, the Supreme Court, like I've told you, is not customary arbitration. It's a court of record. So you cannot just go there and say that Mr. Speaker has done this. So it's either the Supreme Court people, for me, either they were watching TV, or they were watching the proceedings of Parliament, or they probably called someone to ask what happened. I've heard some senior lawyers justify.
Or they picked intel.
No, that it is something we call judicial notice, that the court can take notice of things which are happening.
And predict.
No, and say that we acknowledge this thing is happening. Okay. And so based on that, we'll make our decision. That judicial notice cannot be taken in a vacuum. First of all, it is a matter of evidence when you are determining the evidence on record that you have to take judicial notice. And even if you were taking judicial notice, there must be things which are so accepted and incontrovertible. For instance, Akan's name Kojo. Those are things you can take judicial notice of. That, oh, Akan's name Kojo or Gan's name Namomo. Those ones are not contested. No side No reasonable mind. But you cannot take judicial notice of things which are highly controversial and which are being disputed and which is even a matter before you for determination.
Like what happened in Parliament.
Like what happened in Parliament. So it tells you that the Supreme Court had a certain outcome. We just don't want to declare the seat vacant. But how do we justify that? We must find a reason in law. Because even they run under what we call the purposive interpretation. I'm sure Aaron Barak will be turning in his grave because this is not what he intended, whether the subjective purpose or the objective purpose. He never intended that his purposive interpretation should be construed this way. Now, you know what the court did in page 35? And which shows, and which for me, I think that when we complain about this thing, it's not because we are MPP or NDC. But you see, the decision of the Supreme Court has economic implication on us. It also has a sociological implication. Today, when investors are coming into the country and they want to establish businesses, you know what they do? They come to lawyers and they ask lawyers to write legal opinions. That in the event A, B, C, D occurs, what will happen to our investment? What the Supreme Court is doing is constantly departing and sharply departing from all known legal principles that we lawyers would use to advise future clients. So when your GIPC investments and your dollar is 17 cedis, you are asking why. Nobody is trusting the judiciary. The Afro-Barometer says that over 66% don't trust Ghana's judiciary to be independent. And I share in the pain of Justice Tanko in his dissenting opinion, where he says that this is an aberration of judicial principles. And I hope that in the near future, the Supreme Court will reverse this decision because it cannot stand the test of reverse. I mean, you are not buying. I am very certain in my mind that a certain panel with conscience, with judicial fidelity to the law will reverse this. This cannot stand. You see, not even the MPP lawyers can justify. On Saturday, I was on a show with Atashia. He just said, oh, whether the decision of the court is wrong or not, this is the Supreme Court decision. We have to abide by it. But he is not able to justify whether that decision itself is right. So I'm coming to page 35. The majority opinion concluding said that in the end, we reiterate that on the true and proper interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) only requires that one, an MP must vacate their seat. And what amounts to vacation of seats? The Supreme Court did not tell us.
Yes, I mean, that should be clear first before you.
So, today, the Speaker of Parliament can say that on the back of this decision, looking at the MPP's constitution, you have vacated your seat. The Supreme Court says that too. If they leave the party under which they were elected, how do they leave the party under which they were elected? Then they say, or to join another party or become independent and seek to remain in Parliament under the new status. You see, you know why the Supreme Court could not answer these questions? Because they do not have jurisdiction to answer these questions. Page 35, the last paragraph. Now, you are saying that the seat will become vacant if that MP who has left the party or vacated their seat seeks to remain in Parliament under their new political status. I want to ask the Supreme Court judges whether they spoke to the MPs affected to ask whether, for instance, Cynthia Mamle and then the Suhum MP wants to conduct business with the MPP side of the House. Have we determined their new political status in the House, whether they want to continue to do business with the MPP or they want to remain independent? That determination you haven't made. So how do you come to these conclusions?
I think Parliament will come in and say, well, we are a house of our own rules and
that
laws.
Is why it is reserved for the High Court, because at the High Court you can call witnesses.
Okay.
And you will ask, you will have you can even subpoena and say that come and testify for the court to determine whether or not you have vacated your seat. Esiama, are you a member of the NPP or not? Have you filed? These are exhibits, evidence. Those matters the Supreme Court cannot do. And so when you now go into areas that you don't have jurisdiction to.
Okay.
Now, you see, before I conclude,
land.
there is one argument I've heard them make, and the courts made, that where the Supreme Court has concurrent jurisdiction with another court, the Supreme Court can exercise that jurisdiction. Respectfully to the learned people on the bench, they do not have concurrent jurisdiction with this on this matter.
Why?
See, you don't have to be a lawyer. You take this from the layman's perspective. How can something that is exclusively reserved for the Supreme Court, the word is exclusive, still be so concurrent? This is English. Exclusive means that nobody can do this except you. And you say that by reason of Article 2.1 and Article 130, you have exclusive jurisdiction. You don't need to be a lawyer to appreciate this. But you say that, oh, but the High Court also has concurrent jurisdiction. The Supreme Court's jurisdiction on the matters of determining elections of members of Parliament has been so ousted that they cannot even determine matters of appeal. Even though, election is concerned. Yes, as far as election petitions. So even though the Supreme Court has general jurisdiction on all matters when it comes to appeals, when it comes to election petition, Article 99(2) says that it shall end at the Court of Appeal. And the Supreme Court themselves, over the years, have copiously declined jurisdiction when it comes to that. The litigation must end somewhere. So if the framers of the Constitution intended that it should have come to the Supreme Court, they would have stated so. And you know, there is a rule of interpretation we use, that where there is a general provision and there is a special provision, that special provision overrides the general provision. So if there is a general provision that you can interpret, and there is a special provision that when it comes to this particular matter on determining this vacation, the special provision overrides. We all went to law school. We were taught by some of them. So we're from this shifting tongues because today government has raised this other assertion, and so we have to satisfy them. But you know what has happened this morning? I was checking some arbitration course I want to do. It was 8,000 and something pounds. When I check, it's 170,000 cedis because the pounds is now 22 cedis or so. You know, lawyers in recent times are investing so much in arbitration or alternative dispute resolution because it's the way forward. Because of the hollow nature of the writs that invoked the original jurisdiction of the court. When the court was concluding, you know what it did? It just granted release A, B, C of what Afenyomakin wants and said that an order declaring the interpretation placed on Article 71G, which interpretation was placed on Article 71G, and whose interpretation is it? Vague, very vague. So it's like we are speaking to speaker through the air. Because, and you know, one of the powers that the Supreme Court have, that we say...
Article 71?
Article 97.
97.
97. Okay. One of the powers that the Supreme Court have, that makes them so fearful, that we say that when you disobey the Supreme Court's decision, it amounts to high crime. That the NPP kept holding on to, that, okay, you cannot disrespect the Supreme Court's decision. Now, that thing is not there. Because the Supreme Court refused to exercise its powers under Article 2.2. That the court shall, for the purposes of declaring, for the purposes of a declaration on Article 1 of this article, make such orders and give such direction as it considers appropriate for giving effect or enabling effect to be given to their declaration so made. So now you have declared that the 3 NPP MPs, with the exclusion of the NDC MP, they have not vacated their seat. Now, that's consequential orders you have to give for giving meaning and effect to your declaration, you say, I will not give. Okay. Why are they not giving? Okay. Because, and here, let me conclude by saluting the speaker. The speaker has shown that you do not have to be a soldier to be a strong man. That when he stood up to the Supreme Court and told them that you cannot be deciding cases which you are sentimentally attached and treat others anywhere, and that this is separation of powers. Come and enforce your decisions here. Now there are no decisions to enforce. So when MPP takes this judgment, it's like when your father buys you a ball, Mikita ball, there is no park to play on. We have come back to square one. Okay. Nothing has been solved. Nothing. This matter. If there is another MP who leaves the party to go and contest, it will come back again because the Supreme Court practically addressed nothing in this judgment.
Okay. Okay, Tabitha, let me engage you.
Yeah, so in fact, let me first of all make it clear to our viewers that I'm not a lawyer, but I will like to speak as an ordinary Ghanaian and how we are all absorbing whatever is going on at the Supreme Court. I think for starters, Ghanaians, and let me include myself, what we have gathered from all this is that the speaker, in the person of Alban Bagbin, Speaker Bagbin, only sought to do the bidding of his political party. Because if we have today, for instance, we have about 19 days to elections. And if you think the best way to disrupt the country is by using your power as speaker, and instead of putting things in order, you rather want to put things in disarray, then it means that he was only there to supervise and to implement his party's, whatever they want. I think they were using him to get him to disrupt the nation. Because as we all know, this 8th Parliament has been one of the most difficult parliaments that any government has ever witnessed. And I must say that the MPP so far has done so well managing this difficult parliament and this era of we going through COVID and everything with economic crisis everywhere. Now, you ask yourself, Beatrice wanted to say that the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction, but then she forgot to actually add the fact that the Supreme Court plays a supervisory role. So whether you think that the Supreme Court were invited or not, if they even observe from afar that maybe a court or the law has been mishandled in a certain way, the Supreme Court can always come in.
You don't know what you are saying.
No, don't tell me I don't know what I'm saying. You cannot tell me I don't know what I'm saying.
Because you don't know what you're saying.
I should be telling you that you don't.
Saying that she used concurrent and a special provision. If the court has been giving a special provision, the Supreme Court cannot assume a concurrent position. That's what she was saying. Yes. Once you are giving a special provision, then that's what you have to do. You have to accord the courts that right to
is Beatrice telling us that the Supreme Court doesn't have the supervisory jurisdiction?
Over what court?
That's not what she said.
The Supreme Court has...
Now let's go to Article 132. I'm coming. Let's go to Article 132.
Supervisory jurisdiction over lower courts.
Okay. I'm coming, please. When you were making your submission, I didn't talk. I don't know why.
Misinforming them.
You were misinforming them, and let me correct that error.
Article 132. And I'm told that the minority, I don't know which of the minorities.
The minority in the NDC, so I don't know why you are confused.
The minority is holding a press conference in Parliament. When we get the feed, we'll pick it up for you.
So let me read Article 132. 132. It says that the Supreme Court shall have supervisory jurisdiction over all courts and over any adjudicating authority and may authority and may, in the exercise of that supervisory jurisdiction, issue orders and directions for the purpose of enforcing or securing the enforcement of its supervisory power.
What does it mean?
Now, you can't ask me questions. Let me make my submission. Have you seen that she wants to disrupt my...
Listen to me.
Yeah, so please, can you hold her for me?
Beatrice, allow her.
Now, after reading this, you can tell that the Supreme Court can supervise whatever happens in any court. They have that supervisory role. And so you can't take that away.
So Parliament is a court. So Parliament is a court. So they are exercising.
I'm not answering you. I am addressing the issue. So kindly keep yourself calm. Now,
I'm very calm.
You see, you can't keep misleading the nation that the Supreme Court doesn't have the supervisory role to play. You can't keep misleading
lower
them.
courts.
Not only lower courts.
But it has supervisory role over who?
Over who?
Which institution?
Over which? If the Speaker makes an error and the Supreme Court is called upon to interpret, which the law has given them the power to interpret.
Okay. So which law did the Supreme Court interpret in the ruling we've received?
Is it not Article 97?
They didn't interpret Article.
They didn't interpret it. Well, what did they do? What do you think they did?
You have the...
Because the Speaker erroneously, from the word error, let me not be this thing, declared 4 seats vacant. And per what our Constitution depicts or dictates, he cannot say those seats are what? Are vacant. Because one, those members in question never declared that they will not do business with their original political party until they come out and say that I will not do business with my original political party and that I sought to do it with a different political party. Then you can now stand on that and say they should not be, those seats are what? Are vacant. But here's the case, they never came out to say that we are no longer interested in doing business with our original political party. So until the 6th of January 2025, nobody can declare their seats vacant. And apart from that, they have signed a social contract with their constituents. So before you can abrogate this type of contract, you need to dissolve it the right way, which they didn't do. So if no court has declared it vacant, why will the Speaker of Parliament come out and say such without any court instructing him to declare those seats vacant? Because we all know that before you can declare a seat vacant, you need a high court to declare them. So why will the Speaker make such an immature and an unripe declaration that those 4 seats were vacant? What did he stand on to declare them as vacant? And so I was not surprised to see that at the end of the day, they were not there to listen to the judgment of the court. Because they knew from the get-go that they were in the wrong. They were in the wrong from the beginning. Okay. And the reason is simple. They just want to distort. Okay. They just want to cause disaffection for the courts. And let me tell you, when when they said that Mahama, due to insufficient evidence, that even though he's known as government official one, and due to insufficient evidence, they could not tell us that he is a corrupt person. But we all know from what has been given to us that government official one was involved in a bribery scandal.
How did you land there?
How didn't I land there? What I'm trying to tell you here is this. The fact that you don't have enough evidence to declare a seat vacant means that you cannot declare that seat vacant.
Sorry, I have to
you don't have enough
evidence. Yes, because you need to tell the people that, look, these people have actually vacated posts. Show evidence that they have vacated posts. Then you can declare. And even with that, he doesn't have that authority. That is the first thing we should be talking about. You mean he does not have the authority to declare those 4 seats vacant.
Address him accordingly. The Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker.
The Right Honourable Backben doesn't have the authority to declare the 4 seats vacant. And I think that point should be made clear. And even Beatrice, she knows it.
If you mention my name, I'll respond.
If the High Court does not declare a seat vacant, You as an individual,
this is
not
can never
sociological
matter. This is not sociology.
You're applying
it's not so.
This is not so. That is why this is legal.
That is why the speaker cannot just
say that Article 132 on supervisory jurisdiction.
Yes,
which you don't understand.
I do. I do understand.
You don't understand.
Which is allow her.
Because
you know, it's not for you to impose your understanding.
Because you can't do that.
You allow her.
So she shouldn't mention my name. Because when she mentioned my name, it's as if she's addressing.
She's engaging you.
Yeah, but she's as if she's addressing the point I've made.
So the point is this: the seats that the speaker declared vacant is already null and void, because he does not even have the authority.
The seat is null and void.
I said that declaration he made that they are vacant is null and void because he doesn't have the authority.
He doesn't have the authority?
Yes, to declare them vacant.
The Speaker of Parliament?
Yes.
Why?
Why? The Constitution makes it clear that the High Court has that jurisdiction.
How do you understand that?
How don't I?
The High Court.
I'm actually struggling.
The High Court's provision. How do you understand it?
The High Court. The High Court's provision.
If you can put the article on the screen for me, producers.
The High Court.
What's that in the article? Is it 99 or something? Please put
97.
97.
See, I want to tell my lawyers or my classmates to stop misbehaving.
No, not 97. I want the other one. 97 is about the vacancy. So I want the other one. I mean, is it Article 99?
Yes, it's 99.1.
Yes, Article 99.1, please. Okay, so this is, this is 97G and H. I want 99.1. You guys, should I read on my phone? 99.1 says that, Okay, 99.1. It says the High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any question whether a person have been validly elected as a member of Parliament or seat of a member of Parliament has become vacant, or B, a person has been validly elected as a Speaker of Parliament, blah, blah, blah. That one is a Speaker of Parliament, but the member of Parliament. So 99.1. How is your understanding of this?
My understanding is this. Just as I indicated earlier, the Speaker doesn't
We're crossing over to Parliament. Okay, yeah. Okay,
the Speaker doesn't have the right to declare the 4 seats vacant. And just as you read, that a person has been validly elected as a... Okay, let me go back. The High Court shall have jurisdiction.
The Supreme Court didn't even say that.
They didn't say that the Speaker will have jurisdiction. They said the High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any question, whether a person has been validly elected as a member of Parliament or the seat of a member has become vacant. Let's concentrate on the seat of a member of Parliament has become vacant.
Is it the High Court that heard this case?
No, it's not the High Court.
Why?
So that is why I'm saying that why will the Speaker of Parliament declare those seats vacant without the High Court declaring them vacant in the first place?
Parliament makes its own rules.
And so, no, they make rules. But you should understand that the Supreme Court interprets those rules. And what the Supreme Court sought to do was to interpret the provision that is given here. They only interpreted the provision that has been given here. And from this provision, we are told that the power is given to only the High Court to declare a seat vacant. So I think what the Speaker was supposed to do was that he was supposed to instruct or seek that the High Court declare those seats vacant. But he, as Speaker, does not have that right.
The Speaker should instruct High Court to
No, fine. So whether the Speaker is instructing or whatever they are doing, the truth of the matter is that the Speaker does not have the right, and you cannot tell me that the Speaker has the right to declare those seats vacant. Per what we just read, what didn't I read? Were you not listening?
I was listening.
Then you shouldn't be asking me this question. And the 99
seat was declared vacant. Is it the High Court that declared the Siamese seat?
You know, it wasn't the High Court.
So what are you saying?
So the fact that something happened, and maybe people did not sort to look for somebody or to seek for interpretation, doesn't mean that when it repeats again, people should not sort or should not go for it to be interpreted. For instance, the two of us, probably Beatrice decided to slap you and to slap me. You said, okay, fine, I will forgive her because she's my friend. But I may decide not to forgive and decide to press charges.
Oh, okay.
So these are two different things.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that
This logic is interesting.
it's very interesting. So the fact that
so the other side decides to keep quiet when you're doing everything.
No, so whether that is your choice. It's your prerogative.
Okay.
It's your prerogative.
Okay.
So if you decided that I wouldn't go for it to be interpreted for me, that is your choice.
Okay.
But if the majority side thinks that no, the speaker has made an error, because in the first place, you do not have that right to declare those 4 seats vacant. And so if you made that error, probably stepping on the toes or on the path of somebody who made that error, it doesn't mean that we should also continue in that confusion. We will go for the Supreme Court to interpret for us, because the Constitution makes it very clear that the Supreme Court can have jurisdiction over this matter. And I am grateful that they came in and gave the interpretation. They interpreted it. That's what they did.
They didn't give consequential orders.
Yes. Yeah, so it was just to interpret what the provision sought to
and how will it affect it? How will it affect the actions in Parliament?
How will it affect the actions of Parliament?
Yes, how is it supposed to be applied?
So you see, it will be applied because unless, of course...
Who will apply?
The speaker will have to apply the rule.
When the judgment, the court has not said the speaker should do anything.
No, so the court didn't say the speaker should do anything.
But that's what we are coming. So
it means that
Mr. Speaker can decide to take breakfast this morning.
So what it means is
Mr. Speaker, I urge you to eat breakfast, eat jollof, and sleep. Mr. Speaker should just and dance.
To even begin with, what the speaker did was in error. To even begin with, what he did was null and void. To even begin with, what the speaker did was just to distract the proceedings of Parliament and nothing else.
And what happened?
Because he knew, and let me tell you, that the speaker knew from the get-go that he was in the wrong by declaring those 4 seats vacant. Because you can't tell me that a seasoned lawyer, as the speaker, is not aware of this provision in the Constitution. He is so much aware, but because he wants to distract the proceedings of Parliament, he decided to do so.
No.
Yes, that is what he did. I think that I've been saying this. Look, the campaign of the NDC, from the get-go, because they have a dead campaign. It's very fair. It's very fair. It is very fair. You see, what you said to do was to cause chaos. Let me tell you. Are you aware? Are you aware?
But you know your leader.
I'm coming. Annie, let me make this point.
But you know your leader has extended a hand of friendship. Right?
Sure, why not?
So if you make such
why your people are begging behind
now, the speaker is watching.
Who is begging? No, they're begging and the rest. When see how they are begging, even Natasha, who is senior in the parliamentary,
so if
on Saturday was begging, you are here calling the
so
speaker.
Even if you claim, I don't know whether it is true or false,
they
but
beg.
even if
they are begging.
No, I'm saying that they extend a hand of friendship.
Yes, and it's good. Because at the end of the day, we need to put
then you come and sit here and
if the speaker, if the majority leader is so mature to that level where he can extend his hand to them, I think we should be applauding the
there is no obligation on you from the Supreme Court.
All right, so I don't like what Beatrice is doing this morning. Beatrice, this is your field, and so you should even allow me to expose my error. But unfortunately, you are behaving as though I am creeping you to your game. So you should keep cool. Keep cool and let me talk.
Ignorance is
my ignorance can wait. According to you, but because you are interjecting, it only portrays the fact that I am actually speaking to issues.
Really?
Yeah. Unless, of course, you think.
Do you know
then keep.
That's exactly.
That is what you represent anyway. That's your total representation.
Okay. So,
but you see, Annie, let's make this point clear: that what the speaker did, honestly, hadn't it been for the maturity that the majority leader and the majority MP showed, I can tell you that what happened for the speaker to be elected would have happened again. Because I intercepted a video of one man from the NDC side on Onuya TV, where he said that they were waiting for the MPP people to come and they will give them a beating of their life. Is that what we should be doing in Parliament?
But you can't say that on this platform.
No, but it is true. If you want, I can even share the video with you.
No, you can't say
what
that.
I'm trying to say is that, you know, when I told you from the beginning that
authenticate your
the
video.
NDC only sought to bring confusion but nothing else.
Okay, so
you didn't want to believe.
Okay, so
and
Kelly said
the declaration from this man cements the fact that they only wanted to cause disruption.
Okay, so
because as a grown-up man, why should you say that we are waiting for the majority for them to come, then we will beat them?
So, Kwesi Kwarteng, and those of you who are watching, please, the Education Ministry PRO is Kwesi, not Kweku. Kwesi Kwarteng, he says that the Education Ministry itself is saying that the issues of expired rice is still under investigation. And what authority is Tabitha arguing that the allegation must be ignored? Let's be serious in this country and stop the extreme partisanship tendencies. Sam Kelly sent that in from East Legon. Annie, how does an MP change political identity, seek to remain in Parliament under a new identity? In fact, I always want to look at it from that angle. The common sense got me walking on the streets. That's how I want to look at it. I don't want to look at it from whether they've applied, they have not applied, they have gone, whatever. If I'm working with someone, somebody puts an application that I've resigned, in 6 months I'm gone, or in 3 months I'm gone, I'll start watching you with my left eye. So it's as simple as that. How about the MP who has changed his political identity and has demonstrated that change by officially failing nominations with EC to contest elections based on this new political identity? So what does the purpose? What's the purpose of the core of Article 71G and H? Constitutional interpretation must be done to give effect to the purpose at the core of its provision. I didn't see the Supreme Court unraveling the overriding purpose of the framers of the Constitution in Articles 97, 1G and H. If you can't discover the purpose, how can you interpret the effects the same? So what mischief was the provision made to cure? And that's... It's so long, so I'll keep it there. David Edu sent that in. Okay, so we have the feed from Parliament.
We are beginning the proceedings, our campaign in the Eastern region today. And so from here, we are headed to Nsawam.
Okay.
So if you're in the Eastern region, look out for the John Mahama campaign. We'll be there.
Okay. Look out for Beatrice. She'll be there. All right. I have messages, but I have to cross over because Parliament is holding, the minority side is holding a presser. Let's take a listen to them. Thanks, ladies, for coming.
The Minister of Education, which is now the official spokesperson of Lamens. Shocking. Ladies and gentlemen, since government is suddenly claiming that the rebagged Moshosho rice is wholesome and was duly extended by the FDA, we challenge President Akufo-Addo, Vice President Bawumia, Education Minister Dr. Educhum, Deputy Minister Reverend Intim Fojo, to publicly consume the remaining samples that are available at the FDA office, just as they have compelled our students to consume. If they claim that Lamens has an extension and that there's nothing wrong with the rice, they should publicly, we challenge them to publicly consume the rice as they have made our helpless, innocent children consume across the country. If they really believe what they are telling us, this cock and bull story. Ladies and gentlemen, we strongly condemn this irresponsible and reckless conduct of the Ministry of Education and the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. Now, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government must provide answers to the following pertinent questions from the people we represent in this parliament. 1. Why has the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government failed to initiate an independent, impartial, and credible investigation into this heart-wrenching matter? Why has the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government become spokespersons for the notorious Lamens, even after a damning Auditor General finding of 2021? Why was Lamens not blacklisted in 2021 when the Auditor General made damning findings against the company about other unwholesome food items it distributed to schools? If Lamens had been blacklisted in 2021, our children would have been spared their current predicament. We have more questions. There are 20 of these questions. So please bear with us. Why did NAFCO, led by Alhaji Hanan Abdul Wahab and Nana Boache, the board chair, permit their NAFCO storage facility in Kumasi to be used by Lamens for this criminal rebargain? Why did NAFCO enter into this callous and criminal conspiracy with Lamens to put the lives of our students at risk? Why did NAFCO not seek approval from the FDA for the dubious repackaging exercise as required by law? Why has NAFCO failed to comply with the Public Health Act 2012 Act 851, which requires that all NAFCO storage facilities across the country be registered? As of today, NAFCO has failed to comply with utter impunity and continues to put the health of our children at great risk. We checked only last week, and will you believe, ladies and gentlemen, that NAFCO, after all of this scandal and brouhaha, the uproar, they have still not registered their storage facilities with the FDA. The impunity, the carelessness, they can't be bothered. We are told that Alhaji Abdul Wahab is busy campaigning to be MP, so he doesn't care. Now we continue with our questions for the government. Is the claim by the Education Ministry that the FDA extended the best before date from December 2023 to April 30, 2024 accurate? Is this true? The FDA must speak to this. And you in the media, please help us. Please do your work. The FDA should not be allowed to be silent in this matter. Now, if this claim is accurate, the claim that the FDA is now in the business of extending expiry dates, as Kwesi Kwarteng of the Ministry of Education is claiming, if this claim is accurate, can the FDA explain to Ghanaians under what law and authority they extended the expiry date for laments, as claimed by the Education Ministry? We passed that law, Act 851 here. There is no provision in the law which allows FDA to be extending expiry dates. We want to know under what authority, which provision of Act 851 gives FDA that legal authority to do what they did. We also want to know what are the FDA's protocols for such strange extensions. I'm sure there are many, many businessmen and women, shop owners, who want to know what these protocols are, so that they will also be rushing. What is good for laments is good for the gander. But of course, in that process, all of us will just die. That is how dangerous this laments precedence is. Our questions continue. How did laments manage to obtain this extension the same day it applied the FDA? The same day it applied to the FDA. How did laments achieve that? Now, did FDA also authorize the rebargain into the ECOWAS bags, which changed the origin of the rice from India to Ghana? Since now the Ministry of Education is saying, oh, laments has done nothing wrong. They had approval, they had authorization from the FDA. We want to know, did FDA approve the rebargain into ECOWAS bags? And did FDA ask laments to change the origin from India to Ghana, that instead of made in India, they should say made in Ghana? As for Ghanaians, we are the ones, we produce contaminated rice. When the rice gets contaminated and you are criminally rebargaining, then you don't use made in India, you use made in Ghana. Something our rice farmers know nothing about. And I come from a rice producing constituency. I'm sure our very many rice farmers will be so outraged. And when we do this, and Ghanaians don't want to patronize made in Ghana, who do you blame? When officials are engaged in this grand deception. So we want to know, is it the FDA, since the Ministry of Education has become the defender of laments, did the FDA ask laments to change the origin from India to Ghana? We also want to know, did FDA authorize the rebargain without the best before date or expiry date as required by LI 1541. And you see how criminal these people are. Even if they claim that there was this strange extension, why not state it on the back? So that as the headmasters are feeding our students with this food, they won't go beyond April. Don't forget, we are now in November. Why did they not state it? Why did they conceal this? Why do we treat human beings, our own children, our own citizens, like this? I don't think that even colonial era, even when we were under slavery, slave raiders were treating us like this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more questions. Why did the FDA not destroy the contaminated Moshosho rice, as its internal memo of December 29, 2023 had initially recommended? Why is the Ministry of Education compelling high schools to receive repackaged food items without expiry date? This trend is so dangerous. When did they start? And how safe are our children? If headmasters are being compelled, in violation of LI 1541, to receive food items without expiry dates, God save us. And headmasters and CHAS are also tolerating this. They are not standing up and speaking up in defense of our children. The culture of silence has cowed everybody. People are afraid to lose their jobs. Why is that? Why should that be accepted? Is this Ghana, the country of the brave who stood up to colonizers? Why are heads allowing this? Why has the Ministry of Education failed to comply with recommendations from PIAC and the Auditor General on improving health and safety protocols on food distribution to our senior high schools? Why has the Akufo-Addo administration not sanctioned any official involved in this grave matter? Who are the shadowy government actors who ensured the release of officials of Lamens after their arrest? And who are the unpatriotic and dangerous government officials who put pressure on the FDA to change their position on this matter? How did Lamens move from a culpable and fined company to a darling company of the Akufo-Addo government within days? Why have the directors of Lamens escaped prosecution all these years? Ladies and gentlemen, we demand answers to these 20 pertinent, crucial, and fundamental questions. Ladies and gentlemen, President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Bawumia cannot remain silent on this grave matter, which jeopardizes the health of millions of Ghanaian students. The nation is looking up to them to offer leadership, punish culprits who are largely their appointees, and implement reforms to ensure the safety of our children. The NDC caucus also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of the directors of Lamens Investment Africa Limited, Mr. Ajefi Mensah and Simon Ejei, those two directors. And Simon Ejei, at the time of the arrest, was there supervising the operations, director of the company, supervising the illegal operations at the buffer stock storage facility in Kumasi, before the order came from above that he should be released. We demand their rearrest and prosecution. The board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company must be sanctioned for allowing their storage facility to be used for this atrocious act and for operating unregistered storage facilities across the country. Such recklessness, which sacrifices the health of our students for corrupt transactions, must not go unpunished. The Ministry of Education must be probed for their conduct in this despicable affair, not only for supervising this rot, which severely endangers the health of SHS students, but also their reported role as alleged by FDA officials that they piled undue pressure to get the FDA to back off. The Ministry of Education must be probed. And Reverend Johnny Tim Fojo, who has remained silent as if he's not in this country. The earlier he tells Ghanaians why he concealed this information. Because as far back as January, they could have stopped the repackaging and redistribution of this rice. None of them will be made to get away. Ladies and gentlemen, we call on CHAS, teacher unions, the PTAs, and all Ghanaians to insist, indeed they must insist, that no senior high school should ever again be made to receive food items which have been criminally repackaged and which do not contain expiry dates. This must be a no, 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 and must never be countenanced. Friends from the media, our side in respective parliamentary committees have agreed to initiate inquiries into this atrocious affair. And you can see our distinguished ranking member on the Education Committee. And to be fair to him, for many months and years, he has been raising concerns about the quality of food. You recall, you have interviewed him here on many occasions. Now we have the incontrovertible evidence. He always knew what he was talking about. But the Ministry of Education, which he oversights, refused to listen to him. And now see where we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall not rest until justice is done in this matter. Our senior high school students must never be subjected to this unwarranted callousness and heartlessness just because an unscrupulous few seek to enrich themselves. We thank you very much for your attention. We shall now take your questions. You can moderate. Moderate those who have questions.
Thank you very much, Majority Chief Whip. You have listened to Honorable Sami Okujeto very carefully, the chairman of the Assurances Committee. We've spoken about these food issues severally. And I think about 4 years ago, I had the privilege to meet you with some contaminated or expired tinned fish that was distributed to senior high schools. And this is a confirmation of what we have been fighting against over the years. So if you have any questions, we'll be ready to listen to you and answer them. Okay, you mentioned your name and your media house, then we'll listen to you.
All right, thank you. My name is Kweku Sechidan, so I work with Ghana9peace.com. You indicated that you will not rest. Just to find out from you, using...
Hey guys, so I got this app. It's called Ayoba. It's a chat app that helps me with beauty tips and cooking tips. A super app that feeds me music and the latest sports content. I even use it for my studies. And the good news is, I don't need to use my data bundle because I'm on MTN. Chale, the app just did be.
Ayoba, the all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, read, play, pay, and listen. Use Ayoba at no data cost on MTN. Download Ayoba now.
John, mema wakwaba.
Yeah, yeah, so.
Alaji, mema wakwaba.
Yeah.
John, I had a bro, one on them.
I really am a Ghana and Tina Menamo, and then break a crane Mijano. So no Tina Masaba.
Alaji, I had a bro.
Yo, Medasi.
Moamonim, Tamana, Amawa, which you Mumiana, Nameboa, and Kakra. As I say, dear, my crowd said, me pese me be wareno. Na me ko siesie no. Na me man san gina ne na so biom. No ye kra behwe.
Yo, abusuafo, yes empa.
Yes empa.
Yo, Amagana. Wasumo.
Mentumi ensan nchi. Sho bread baby a wode me famwe. Amane hu. Debi. Mentumi biom. Forward ever, backwards never.
John, wo okwan a wode me bai fa so. Ahokyere, ekom, dum so. Hwa me nana no mi. Ya free SHS ya ban ya. Kom anya school anko. Edahwe ya o ma ye fe.
Ase o ma sesan be hye obo. Sa ahomache 2 o'clock kokra. Meko band, na makwa akwa yiska. E de abra magana. Na maboni getire ama na starting kokon ketenkete.
Hey! Akunta, you are still incompetent. 2% side mami abrabo, eto chacha to say aviator. There be emaso.
Alhaji has also promised us jobs through digitalization. Ejimambe Bususe.
Alhaji dear, metenensua ne masore. Emiri bia mekani abesa no. Otimi to kanea light e woni phone so. Ema me ba bia wonam bia. Yo Amagana, enya me ne ware amawo. Alhaji ni Jones ni wa chusu.
No ababa say. Eye Alhaji number 1.
Alhaji number one.
Esuro.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get the packing from your command. Wallahi. Hey, wait.
You go put it on this tab. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, Google radio. We star 712. It's much more phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
No, maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or prefer ticket. I'm choosing random ticket. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
never. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
Chale, you dey hear the filler where they go round. Won't hear? Hey, I hear say the Electoral Commission dey register some voters for secret places. Them add thousands of names to the voters register.
Me ever hear say they do one for the EC headquarters. I only fair.
Hey!
Then fee are thousands of voters for the ruling party in Stronghold and delete names of voters for the opposition in Stronghold. I be for
If these rumors are true, then the upcoming elections cannot be free and fair. Oh, the Electoral Commission needs to address these allegations immediately in Tamara.
My people, let me set the record straight. All these rumors, they are nothing but pure lies. And Tronkwa.
Really?
First of all, 21 days before the registration exercise, the EC publishes all registration centers in the Gazette. And every single political party knows the location of all these centers all over the country.
Okay.
Secondly, all political parties have their agents at every registration center nationwide. Accredited observer groups, Metrese, even international observers, they are also present at these centers. Yes. Thirdly, all political parties receive both start of day and end of day reports at each registration center. They use these reports to collate the figures of registered voters. Simple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Finally, at the end of each day, registration, the total number of voters published by the Electoral Commission always matches with the figures collated by the political parties from all the registration centers throughout the country. There is no doubt about it. I mean, no doubt about it.
Sir.
Okay. So my people, don't fall for all the lie that is flying around. The registration process is totally transparent. Period.
Now we know the truth.
We won't fall for these lies anymore.
The EC ensures a transparent process at every step. Share this information and help stop the spread of misinformation. Make sure say Remember, the EC logo fee add one figure self to the registered voters. The 2024 election registration process, it be Frenchim, it be clean, no glulu.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, #1 on the ballot.